Welcome, Richard. Thank you for joining us today. I understand you're based in Australia.
Yes, I am. That's right. And thanks for having us on. It's great to be here from sunny Australia.
Excellent. Which part of Australia are you based in?
We're based in Sydney, and most of our team are based down here with our data scientists and engineers, and then we also have a small team in Melbourne.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. So today we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence, and I know you have a very rich history in business and in finance, in technology, and also contact centers. So maybe if you could just give us a very quick overview about some of the highlights of your career, especially when it relates to maybe contact centers as well.
Yep, sure. So I've had a long and a quite interesting career, I suppose, working in different places around the world, starting here in Australia, working in dealing rooms, which I guess is a form of contact center, in financial markets, then working in Asia, in Hong Kong for HSBC Group, and also in the US in a variety of roles, and then finished with the HSBC Group as the CEO of First Direct Bank in the UK. Which is a terrific organisation and one that I think is one of the pioneers of direct banking and direct financial services. And really exciting experience there where we had a very large contact centre in Leeds and another one up in Glasgow with thousands of seats, I think around 3,000 seats. So it was a terrific experience and really stuck with me in terms of the potential to deliver a fabulous service remotely, without actually having branches. So that experience was really part of the inspiration behind daisee. And after that experience, I came back to Australia to be the first regional managing director for Google here in the region. And I was involved with Google through a really explosive growth scenario and had a very varied role across a number of different countries from India through to South Korea and Australia. And then I spent time back in financial services in a number of different guises, and including most recently as the CEO of the OFX Group, which also delivers services via its contact centres both in London, in San Francisco, Sydney, and in Hong Kong, which is an international money transfer business. So I've had quite a lot of different experiences with contact centres over the years, and have sort of seen them evolve and become far more advanced and much more interesting, I think, in terms of the technology that surrounds the opportunity in contact centres.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that. So the burning question I have, and I'm sure a lot of other people have as well, Richard, is you've got all this experience. So why did you set up your own company, daisee, and what's the story behind that?
Yeah, it's a great great question. What I saw was a huge opportunity to take the emergence of AI and I think look at the capability of the technology and to apply it to an area that I'm very familiar with, which is contact centres. And to do it in a way that hasn't been done before. And I think there is an opportunity here to bring some really groundbreaking technology into the market in a way that hasn't been done and make it more accessible to more contact centres. So my vision is that AI should be accessible to all companies, not just the large contact centres, but the smaller and medium-sized businesses as well. And often they're the ones that are under-resourced and really could use the help. So for me, it's all about getting leverage from AI and really getting the productivity and the insight that it promises and being able to create a company that would provide this service to contact centers of all sizes all around the world. Interesting.
So tell us a little bit more about, artificial intelligence and the contact center. Where do you see it fitting in? And, I know we've been using artificial intelligence in various forms over the many years, but where do you see it fitting in these days and in the future in the contact center space?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think it sits to me at the heart of what is AI and what is the machine learning and how does it actually work. And where I think it's really strong is in the capacity to understand unstructured data, and that's really the essence of voice. And the two areas of AI that I think are most interesting are vision. There's been a lot written about self-driving cars and so on, which is all based around computer vision. But the side that I think is really exciting is this area around voice. And voice data is really complex. It's quite a challenging area because when we use conversation, it varies a lot from person to person. And so being able to understand not only what's being said, but the intent behind it what do I mean by what I'm saying, and what is the issue that I'm really getting at? That to me is the opportunity. And when you think about AI, machine learning, and the software around that, it's quite a complex area. And so one of the areas that we're focused on is making the complex simple, make it useful, and make it work immediately. So for me, that's one of the key criteria of our software and our solution, is to make sure that it works out of the box. It doesn't require training. It doesn't require a lot of setup. It comes out of the box, it works straight away and delivers value from day one. And that's really important, because I think whenever new technology is introduced, people can be skeptical. So it's very important to be able to see not only is it helpful, useful, but it's very intuitive. And that's the key part of the opportunity in terms of the contact centers.
Okay, excellent. So talking specifically about, if I'm a contact center leader watching this, I'm thinking, okay, where can this AI solution fit in my business? Would it be to help me with training? Would it be to help me with recruiting? Would it be to help me with, actually analyzing what customers are actually saying versus, what the agent is recording? Or give me some examples of specifically how it might actually help my business.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's sort of three broad categories where AI can help in a business, and I like to think of them, in those sort of areas, in three broad buckets. The first really is around quality management, compliance, and that's really, I guess, the area that's quite important, quite hard to manage in terms of making sure that we're delivering a great service and that it's very consistent. The second area is around sales and optimizing the productivity of the contact center and making sure that we're getting the most out of the interactions for clients and for the business. And then the third element is around what I would call the broader area around workforce management, around training and the people side of making sure we've got the right agents speaking to the right clients about the appropriate issues. So those are the three broad buckets where AI can be applied. And we've seen probably the most of the focus has been around sales optimization, and because obviously that has a very clear ROI. But when you think about daisee and our products, where we've decided to focus has been more around the quality management and using AI to really automate quality management and do it in a way that's never been seen before. And I think for me that's really exciting, because what it's all about is lifting the quality score, lifting the customer satisfaction. So that's really the area of focus for us. But of course that then blends into better sales outcomes and better training and outcomes for the agents. So what we've seen is that although our solution focuses in that area, it has much broader benefits across the other two as well.
And what are some of the misconceptions that people you talk to have about artificial intelligence?
Yeah, well, there's quite a few actually. I mean, I think that's interesting too. Is that I think when you think about artificial intelligence, it sort of it garners up different images about black boxes and things that just sort of work autonomously. But actually, AI in itself is something that's been around for a long time, as you said. And machine learning has kind of gone through a number of evolutions. So one of the misconceptions in which has been around in the past is that it's very expensive and that it's inaccessible to a broad number of players. And I think what we've seen with the advent of cloud technology and the capacity for software as a service to be the delivery mechanism is that it can become very much more accessible and affordable. So I think that's one of the key benefits. The other big change and misconception, I suppose, is around the accuracy. We've seen dramatic improvement in the accuracy and the veracity and the capacity of these systems. And it's actually amazing to see the accuracy that can be derived from it. So we're now seeing human-like scoring in terms of the ability to do quality scoring through software. And that for me is very exciting. So the quality of the actual software has really leapt forward. And then I guess the third element that is one of the misconceptions is that it's only all about sales and sales optimization. And I think for me that's also been one of the misconceptions, is actually the application can be much broader. And I guess at the end of the day, one of the things that is most interesting about it is that it's really changing the way that we think about customer relationship management, and we can think about it in a way that we're actually capturing the full conversation, every word that's spoken. So the richness of the interaction is another aspect that I think is now become so much more interesting. It's not just looking at next best action or suggesting a particular product to sell, but really looking at the full richness of the interaction. So really for me, it's been really a matter of coming of age. AI is now something that's real, it's accessible, and it's affordable.
Excellent. Your organisation, I believe you started in 2017. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where are you now in terms of your evolution? Are you actually deploying technology already, or are you still in the research and development phase?
Yeah, no, we're actually we're really gathering steam as we speak today. So we're several years into our development, and actually the genesis of our product came through many years of university research. So what we took was a number of different elements and put them together, and then really advanced them and tailored them for contact centers. So we've been live in Australia for over 12 months with a number of different clients, and very excitingly, most recently we've signed a large partnership in the US, and our focus now is on scaling up in North America. And so with that, we're actually going live this week with a very large telemedicine client. And obviously with COVID-19 and all of these factors, telemedicine has really come of age, and it's a very interesting area for us. So we're very excited about that. So it's really adding a big focus in healthcare, which is broadening out the verticals where we focus. So our company's now in the scale-up phase, and we're really excited about rolling it out across North America and continuing to grow in Australia and in Asia.
Congratulations. That sounds like a really good opportunity in terms of, especially with what's happening today with COVID-19 and, as you've seen from all the news reports in the States, they still haven't got past the first wave. They're still in it, and it's getting worse. So sounds like interesting times for you guys. So maybe we can just talk a little bit about that type of telemedicine type approach then. So can you describe then where in that business it's being used then, and in what sort of capacity?
Yeah, so basically one of the challenges, I guess, around telemedicine is really working out who I should speak to. So what happens is there's an initial phone call into a contact center, and you speak to a group of people around what are the symptoms, what's the issue that you need treated, and then the first element is to work out through quite a complex health system that exists in the US. Which plan am I on, and what are the kind of benefits that are covered, and then it's about pairing you to the right medical institution, and importantly then selecting the right doctor to help you. So what we're doing is we're deploying our software into this first phase, which is really, I guess, the critical area around selecting what services should be offered and which doctor should be recommended. So it's a really interesting opportunity, and it's one that's quite new, because telemedicine is still something that's quite new around the world, and certainly in the US I think they've had the most experience with it, and we're working with one of the leaders in that area. And one of the reasons why our software is required is because the agents are actually all remote. So there's no physical contact center. So everyone is literally working from home. So with that in mind, the quality management is quite difficult. So being able to monitor the agents, and particularly as they've scaled up, they've had to hire a whole raft of new people. It's several hundred seats, this particular business. And so they've had to do remote training, remote coaching. And so our software is being deployed across all of the different agents there. So it's a critical part of their capacity to scale up through the COVID-19 challenges.
Excellent. So is it also as a is the role of this AI solution then also to maybe displace or replace traditional knowledge management systems, because the technology is taking care of it for you?
Yeah, interesting. It certainly is complementing those systems. But what we're seeing is a change in focus, and instead of the information being quite static, it's much more dynamic. So what we're able to do is to spot emerging trends, emerging issues much more quickly. So the knowledge management systems can be updated more frequently, but it's also helping in terms of training agents, because what the solution does is it's very quickly enables you to look at your best calls and calls that perhaps needed some work. So what we're seeing is the time to value, or the speed of training and getting the agents up to speed, is dramatically shortened. And so instead of the agent having to spend a lot of time looking up the knowledge management systems, it's much easier for them to be shown examples of best answers for that kind of issue. So it's really quite an effective training tool, as well as one that really does help in terms of knowledge management.
How sophisticated are these technologies today in terms of being able to deal with different languages, and in particular dialects? If you look at the States and other countries, in some cases there's a huge number of variances in dialects as well.
Yes, that's true. And so dialects and also accents are a challenge. And I think in the early versions, what we used to see was the AI had to be trained for particular accents and dialects, as you say, and terminology. And what we've ended up with now is some very sophisticated algorithms that can effectively understand what they call global English, which is kind of a euphemism, which means looking at all the different accents and the ways that different words are spoken. And the reason that these models have evolved is to enhance the transcription accuracy. And so from that, what we're also able to then do is add in custom terminology. So in the advent of a particular industry where there are specific terms that are quite unique, we're able to augment that with custom dictionaries as well. So the technology's really come a long way, and right now it's really is very useful. So the accuracy we're seeing, certainly across the US, is very, very high. So we're up in the early 90 percentiles, so around 92, 93%. And interestingly, even the best humans are at 95%. So in terms of, if you look at a benchmark, the AI systems are getting very, very close to human quality in terms of their capacity to understand accents.
Great. And what about the future of AI? Do you see, as some people have maybe predicted, that maybe AI is going to replace the contact center agent of the future? What's your views?
That's a great question, and I think that was one of the thoughts, I suppose, is that people's AI systems could become so sophisticated, perhaps they could replace people entirely. And I think certainly the voice recognition and the early automated IVRs have become more sophisticated. But I think my view would be that we're a long way from that, and I think the role of the contact center is still very critical to many businesses. And the reason for that is just the complexity of interaction. I think although the systems are very, very strong, it's amazing how clever people are, and the capacity that humans have to adapt and to interact is so advanced. So I think we're still many, many years away from the systems being so sophisticated they can replace people. But I think what they can do is take away a lot of the mundane interactions, the ones that are quite straightforward, things that we've seen already, things like show me my balance, tell me have I been paid. These sort of answers, I think, can be automated quite easily. But when we get into more complex interactions, I think that's where the contact center really comes into its own. And what we see is, even though web interfaces have become so much more advanced, as soon as people look to buy a complex product or they have an issue, they need to speak to someone. They need to be walked through the pros and cons of a particular solution. And that's what we see across a range of customers, is that the role of someone in the contact center is actually a very challenging role. And so whilst the AI is very useful in helping and supporting that, I think humans are here for a long time to stay. Okay,
good. So that just is going to reassure a lot of people watching this who, there were some mixed messages going out, and I'm a believer like yourself that AI is going to help us take care of a lot more mundane tasks and allow us to focus on the more complex, type of interactions that we really need to focus on. So thank you for that. Talking about the future then, what other exciting things do you think artificial intelligence is going to enable us to do, or we're going to see as a result of AI coming more and more into our lives?
Yeah, I think, for me, one of the great things that AI is going to help us with is in predictive models. And, I guess the AI that we see every day, things like, weather forecasting or Google Maps, these kind of systems are becoming more and more intuitive the more data that they get access to. So I think from a day-to-day, everyday life perspective, I think these systems are making our lives better. In terms of entertainment, we've seen huge growth in Netflix and Spotify. These kinds of services where they know what you like and they recommend content for you. I think that type of system is going to become much more prevalent across things like education as well, where it's going to get to know you and understand what you're interested in and start to predict content that we'll want to see and present it in a way that we'll be able to understand and interrogate. So I think for me, one of the real opportunities of AI is going to be around how services are personalized, and they're much less about mass broadcasting and much more about narrowcasting and being more specific to us as individuals. So I think from that perspective, there's a long way to go and a lot of opportunity within AI. And the systems themselves are becoming more and more adaptive and more intuitive. So I think for me, I'm very excited about the opportunity as we see the technology improving. And the more advancement that happens, I think the more useful these systems are going to become for us.
Definitely. So it sounds like from what you've described throughout this conversation, Richard, that there's some exciting things happening for daisee right now and the organisation. Where do you see your next innovation? Do you have any ideas about what's coming after where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a really exciting roadmap of areas that we're working on, and one of the things that we've developed recently is a fully automated call driver algorithm. And what that does is it shows at a vast scale the capacity to understand what is the call intent behind a call, and to show how that's changing over time. So the area we're investing a lot in is around understanding from a completely automated perspective how to categorize calls and how to make sure that the business intelligence is becoming more informed through the algorithms. Our other frontier that we're focused on is other languages. So you mentioned that previously. So we're looking into Spanish, French, German, and the other languages of Europe. So we'll definitely be expanding into broader set of languages. And the other area that I'm excited about is video. Very much the format we're using now. I can see a time where more and more contact center interactions will be done via video. The technology expanding into perspective, there's a lot to still do. So I feel like we're very much at the early stages of the journey, and that I'm very excited about the development roadmap that we've got in front of us. And we're also looking at partnerships and ecosystems. So I think that's another aspect of this technology, is that as a specialist supplier, we're looking at how we integrate and how we relate to some of the broader platform players that are out there. Everything from the Microsoft platform, that hosts Skype, the solution we're on today. We're a partner with Microsoft, and we're looking at a number of other partnerships around the world, and looking at how we integrate with the evolving cloud technology that is available to contact centers. So from that perspective, we see a very fast evolving ecosystem, and so we're looking at all of the interfaces that we're building, the APIs and the data linkages that we can make into CRM systems such as Dynamics and Salesforce and so on. And so we can see that side of things also growing quite quickly.
Definitely. There's really exciting opportunities ahead for all of us, and it sounds like you've got a really good vision there, Richard, in terms of everything that you're planning. And I couldn't agree more with you. I think a real untapped opportunity for artificial intelligence is the video market side of things. We're all using Skype, we're all using Zoom these days. It's being taken into the business world because of COVID-19, and I think there's great opportunities for organizations to start leveraging artificial intelligence, to start looking at what their customers are doing and how they're interacting with the maybe the contact center or the organization, and starting to predict what else we should do to service that customer. What are they telling us the truth? Are they lying? Are they are they frustrated? Are they happy? Looking at intelligence behind all of those interactions. So I think the video one is a great one as well. Richard, I want to thank you. I want to say, it's been a great talking to you. It's been really useful. Thank you for taking your time out to join us today, and I look forward to you and your organization growing, being part of what we do at Contact Center World, and also I'm going to take a very keen interest in all the things that you guys are doing. It's in some ways groundbreaking in an industry that you and I have known for many years. So thank you for your time today.
You're very welcome, Raj. Great to talk to you, and I'm also very excited to keep in touch and keep showing the new developments as they come forward. So thanks very much for your time, and look forward to seeing you in person real soon.
Definitely. Well, once we got this pandemic out of the way and we can start traveling again, you'll see us at some point in time, no doubt. And we'll, like I say, we'll keep an eye on what you guys are doing. It sounds like a really exciting venture, and good luck and congratulations, Richard. Stay safe and take care, my friend.
Thanks very much.
Take care.
Yep, all the best.
Bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.